That's a big question. Who will we become? Because we are not just customers, hopefully, we are more than that. And this comes to one of the deepest questions we can ask, as in, what is it that is fundamentally the same about us, and what is it that changes? And I think it's fascinating if we see how are we different. We expect more in terms of the transparency and accountability, in terms of sustainability. So that is a ratchet. It doesn't go back. As soon as we're exposed to something which is better, then we'll never be satisfied with less. So those expectations are rising on every front. There's no longer a trade-off between richness and reach. And essentially saying, yes, you can reach as many people you want with as rich as possible interaction. And it sounds good, but in fact it's a lie.
Online actions tend to reverberate into offline. And this is a key, and it might be a hint as to what the future customer is like. The future customer, in my belief, is looking for a seamless experience which blends the intrinsic qualities of that offline and online experience. And here I'm talking about online and offline bricks and mortar. And I think this provides a fascinating opportunity for retailers.
But we have young people come into our pharmacies and they have serious conditions. They want to talk to someone. They want some empathy. They want an interaction. They don't want to have to engage with someone through a computer. So as a CIO, I always kind of bring myself back to this fact.
Going to be more digital buying, online buying, than there has been in the past, and physical retail will still exist. Those are absolutes. We know those for sure. So the question becomes, what is the relationship? What is the role in relationship of the physical world and the digital in how we buy things? For me, community is not just connections, it's enabling the community to connect.
Now, people talk about data a lot, but really when you're getting your information into a central point which is queryable, it can make a huge difference for you to understand how to contact the customer, how to get close to the customer, improve product and run your business. We mentioned immediacy, and what springs to mind is this idea of the edge compute, and you touched on it, Ross. It's about bringing computation and content closer to the requester. That means snappier experiences, it means personalised experience at speed, and also for retailers that are going global, it means that you have a point of presence in those different regions and in those different countries. What I see is we're at this inflection point where what really matters right now is talent and technology. But perhaps if I had an image of what I was searching for and I could drop it into the Vision API, it could go and search your product and come up with either that exact thing that you're looking for or things that are very, very similar. And that's interesting because behind the scenes, that's quite a complicated ML model that's being presented to retailers now to use in a relatively simple form.
What can we do as a brand to sort of say, hey, you've done this, you've had this activity, how can we follow up on that? Or how can we do more, but it's driven by you? You say yes or no to those sorts of things.
We did build the world's largest wireless network for a period of time, and we called it the cloud because we're trying to think of a ubiquitous, all-encompassing thing which kind of talked to this big network, which was eventually sold to BSkyB. But that does show how quickly things have moved on. And that just goes back to my point around talent and technology. It's key for businesses to focus on talent and technology right now. And once again, talent's the partnerships you create and the internal talent of your organizations. And when you make technology choices, make sure you make technology choices with partners with vision, partners that can execute on that vision, and as much as possible, don't lock you in.
I think the important thing about data too is every time a customer transacts with you, they're leaving a profile behind of their data. And I think it's incumbent on us to be very respectful. A lot of people don't understand just how the richness of the data that's left there. And it's something I've been very conscious of is you've got to be very respectful to that data that's been left behind, because you can draw insights out of that, you can monetize that, but what does that mean? Does the customer want that? Is there consent around those things?
The question which most organizations have been asking for a long time is saying, How do we get value from this data?
As customers demand more, it's a marketing responsibility. As technology becomes more complex, and that's a technology and information requirement, if that team isn't functionally effective, very open, and helping each other to understand the deep pots of complexity that each one has to deal with every day, you're not going to win. You're going to get left behind.
We're a community pharmacy and we're there to add value to the community and underpin the relationship between the pharmacist and the customer. So when I look at the data, we say, how do we improve that outcome? Either from a professional services, in that we're adding value to the customers, we talked about from data, or we're improving our business in terms of reducing costs and those sorts of things. If you start with the data itself, you quickly get lost.
You need it because if you have an absence of it, then you can't do anything. And that's not being glib, I'm just saying that that's really why I think about data first. My general answer is it depends on the business. Store it, because without it you can't make any inference. And then maybe encourage some sort of experimentation within your company to see if they can get meaning from it.
What could the business become? And it's not a straight line. It's like what is the potential for the business? But more broadly, I think this is around optimizing user experience. What is the experience? How do you make that better?
What we have done is we've created a loyalty app, and with the help of 33, that does two things. It rewards people for their purchasing, and so it sort of says you've purchased so much, great, you get points, and that's kind of a bit of a Me Too type solution. But what we've put with it, with consent, and we make sure our customers really understand this. When you come in and have an iron check or a blood pressure check, we will send that data point through to your app, individual to you, and you can see that. So when you go to the doctor next and you've got a condition, you can say, I've been going to the pharmacy and I've been getting these sorts of checks. As you know, vaccines are coming. Pharmacy is going to be able to provide the AstraZeneca one. We've got this right in front of us, and we're asking our questions. How do you bring those two elements together, the professional and the retail, and provide a unified experience? Because that's what our customers want, but they are very disparate in terms of even the way the data gets handled.
It's been really refreshing to work with a business that has those concerns at the core.
The customer concern around the privacy of their data, if you make that the start point and work out from there, I think you're doing a great deal to protect yourself and your brand.
Why do we choose BigCommerce? This is an important thing. I admire their single direction. They're not trying to be jack of all trades. They're doing a really single focus push to be the best at e-commerce. There was this cultural element there. We go back to partnerships and talent. I realised that with this team, we could be successful in the very long bow. They're successful, we're successful, we trust them, they trust us. It's been a great partnership.